and having realized the fact that without the requisite funding and access to credit by our farmers, there is no way we are going to succeed in our drive towards diversification of the economy away from oil to agriculture. And in order to achieve that goal, we will very soon, in conjunction with members of the committee, sponsor a bill on the floor of the House, whereby all these funds that are related to agriculture that are domiciled in various ministries, departments, and agencies will now, as a matter of law, be domiciled in the Bank of Agriculture. Very soon we are going to sponsor that bill on the floor of the House so that you will have the requisite wherewithal to give credit to our farmers at single-digit interest rate.
The MD, CEO, and 4 executive directors, all of us are bankers with at least 25 years banking experience each. So the challenges that the bank is facing: number one, funding, which is very key. The bank is not currently included in the federal government budget for its recurrent and capital expenditure. It has been generating income to offset its expenditure through the income level, which is insufficient, hence the losses being experienced. Our target is the next 5 years the bank will be self-funding. We are not going to rely on getting funds from the federal government. Right now, as I go on, I will explain our ability to interface with some development partners and banks abroad who are ready and desirous to invest in the bank, are not able to do that because of weak financials, of the bank. I will get to that one. Then the next challenge is the failure of the shareholders to pay, which I've already enumerated. Weak capital base and lack of lending resources still tied to funding and failure of the shareholders to pay their equity. So notwithstanding the capital constraint, the bank has over 1 million customers and funded over 761,000 projects. Loan disbursements reduced from 7.2 billion in 2010 to 3.2 billion in 2011 as a result of lack of funding, but increased to 3.7 from 3.7 to 5.6 in 2012 and 2013 respectively. In 2014, the bank lending resources improved because of the 7.5 billion intervention granted by the federal government. Although the bank is in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, government agencies and NGOs, financing the operations of the bank have been challenging due to paucity of funds, high overhead and running costs, with low level of income caused by lack of loanable funds, low recovery drive, general economic downturn, low return on investment for micro and agri finance. Our overhead and running cost for 2016 was about 4.3 billion as against an income of 2.8 billion, while the current overhead and running cost is 2.5 billion against 1.3 billion as at July 2017. Another challenge is that of information technology. The operations of the bank are substantially manually driven, which significantly reduces the efficiency of operations. For a business of lending in agriculture, where you have huge number of farmers to attend to, automation through ICT is very key and critical, because that is the only way you can be able to monitor the performance of the farmers, follow up for recovery, be able to identify where there are problems and be able to provide solutions to them instantly. Without ICT, it is a great challenge. Staff issues. From 2001 to 2011, the bank carried out downsizing of the workforce on 3 occasions to ensure skills, competence, retention of qualified and experienced staff with high sense of professionalism. However, the major challenges remain the skill gap, low staff performance due to stagnation, poor remuneration, as BOA is the least paid amongst all the DFIs in the country, weak information technology, poor office ambience, etc. To address the problems, coupled with the need to reposition the bank and put it on the path of growth on a sustainable basis, there is need to train and retrain, review the remuneration package of staff, and review the processes. As a management staff, we have been, involved in, making, staff issues a priority. We have been training staff locally, that is within the bank. We have engaged with, development partners who have graciously, some of them offered and even trained our staff, for free. There are some other development partners abroad that have offered, to assist the bank in capacity building for free, but because of the, liquidity position of the bank, we are unable to support, and cover the cost of, travel and accommodation for our staff, abroad. We have identified aging staff, people that are about to retire between now and 1 year, who are desirous to leave and give us chance to inject better hands, but because there is no money, we cannot do that. We have gone to the extent, despite the limited resources, to promote some of our staff that have done so well as a motivation going forward. So we have done quite a lot, in that area. High non-performing loans is another challenge. The bank has very high non-performing loans ratio. Currently, what we are doing is to, engage our staff, to go on aggressive, recovery. We have, provided incentive, to them by way of commission. For any amount of, money recovered, a staff is entitled to some form of commission, so that they can recover more. We have appointed recovery agents who are already at the field negotiating, with the farmers and, other customers to see how we can recover our money. We are also in collaboration with the security agencies, to assist us in areas where it is very difficult, for us, to even negotiate. And some of the hardcore accounts, we have taken them to court. So we are undergoing, litigation. There are some other public sector, collaborations that we have that are owing money to the bank, like the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, that was granted 3 loans between 1981 to 1992 in the sum of 2.4 billion. We have been in touch. The Honorable Minister has made, a promise to make provision in the 2018 budget so that the outstanding loan, can be repaid. And on the basis of that, we granted a waiver, to make it, attractive for them, to pay. So our prayers are as follows. Number 1, we would like the Honorable Committee to humbly appeal to the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Ministry of Finance to pay off their equity contribution in the sum of 18 billion. That will go a long way in making things easier for the bank.
Are you reading the document you gave us? The document before us is saying 16.
No, it's 18.
16 is CBN.
Total is 18.
15 points.
15.9, that is to CBN, and then 2.2.
is here. No, you went to that.
Yes, but are two. One is equity, which continues our mandate, to lend to smallholder farmers, artisans, and what have you. That is not captured here. And then the 18 billion, there is a letter that we received from the Central Bank of Nigeria, which will admit as an annex, which stated that the funds required by the bank is 33 billion, not 18 billion. Because the 33 billion, what it will do, one, it will enable us get the license, the current license that will enable us to operate as a retail development finance institution, which we don't have the license, up till now. And, secondly, it will, clean our books and make it more attractive. So our second prayer, distinguished members, is to provide funding on a sustainable basis, coupled with the need to put the bank on the path of growth to make it more viable and financially sustainable, and to be able to bring about the actualization of the government's program or focusing on agriculture in view of the dwindling revenue from oil, and to ensure food security, poverty alleviation, employment generation, and improve the national economy. We humbly solicit for the assistance of the committee to make a case to Mr. President to A. Allow the Bank of Agriculture manage all agricultural intervention and other natural resources funds, especially rice levy, wheat levy, sugar levy, etc., some of which are currently idle and domiciled with the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. These funds, when they come in, it's not like we are going to use it for all lending, but we are just going to manage the funds on behalf of the accounts and what it is meant for. But what the funds will do to us, it will improve our liquidity position and make any investor that is coming back to get attracted that the bank is liquid and will be able to repay whatever that is invested at the end of the day. The National Assembly can also assist the bank by making legislations that will allow the bank to manage all agricultural intervention funds, just like national housing funds being managed by Federal Mortgage Bank and main subsidy account being managed by Bank of Industry. Our second prayer is to prevail on the Ministry of Water Resources to pay the outstanding loan of 1.3 billion granted to the ministry and its parastatal. 3. To prevail on the federal government to make budgetary provision for administrative costs of the bank. D. To liaise with stakeholders to fast-track the recapitalization of the bank. This one, we have to thank you most, sincerely. That issue is already being addressed. The next one is that the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Fund, which was founded for the purpose of managing and investing surplus income from the Nigerian excess oil reserve. We are soliciting for the committee's assistance so that the fund can also allow us to manage some of their funds. And then lastly, we are praying that the Agricultural Transformation Program, which is laudable initiative of the federal government, through the our own stakeholders, requires strong legislation to make it sustainable. The committee can support this initiative through an act to establish an agricultural development fund that will attract investment into agriculture in the country. Other countries, they have similar funds. Most of the investors in different sectors, they will want to see specific funds being created by different countries as a comfort that when they now invest funds in that particular sector, they know that upfront there is an account that is providing comfort to whatever exposure that they will have. So at this end, I want to thank the chairman, deputy chairman, and distinguished members for giving us this opportunity, and to also state that as a bank, we are ready, we are committed, we are strategizing to make sure that, Bank of Agriculture, stand out, and it is being able to shoulder its, mandate, for the benefit of Nigeria and the economy. Thank you very much.
Complaint this year, Bank of Agriculture is not in the budgeted, the current budget. This is what happened due to the manager you succeeded. We have been calling him last year to come and attend budget defense. He will be telling us he is in the ministry, he is in the central bank, he is somewhere, somehow. And if you cannot come and defend your budget, the legislator has no obligations to include you in that budget.